Hey crocheters, it is Friday night. We are ready to do another stitch in our Road to 100, and this one is so fun. So for the month of February, we've been doing flower stitches. We've done the lotus, the iris, we've dabbled in the primrose. So we've kind of taken on a flower theme because the month of February is all about kindness and love, and everybody's given flowers to their sweethearts. And so we have stuck with the sort of flower theme. However, we're going to dabble into something else that's kind of common on Valentine's Day, and everybody loves chocolate covered strawberries. So how many times have we eaten chocolate covered strawberries over Valentine's Day or made those with our kids to celebrate the love month? So tonight I have an exciting stitch for you. Somewhat like the cupcake we did back when it was my birthday week, but way more versatile. This one is more realistic. The cupcake stitch is kind of an embellishment stitch. It's just for fun. It doesn't make like a good pot holder or blanket, but it's cute. It was cute on the tote that we did. Tonight, we're going to do the strawberry stitch. Strawberry stitch is a very thick, yarn-eating cluster stitch. And so you could very well make an entire blanket of strawberries if you wanted to. Or you could make a little embellishment of strawberries if you wanted to. So either way, this stitch is something that, although it's going to look fun and be fun to make, you actually could use this on several projects. It's also one that you could border a blanket with. If you did like a strawberry themed baby blanket or a pink baby blanket, you could go around the edge and make strawberries as the border. So I'm super excited to do this one. It's one of the ones on the list that I was like so excited about when I first started making the list of 100 that we were going to learn. So tonight we're using this is a G. You don't have to use a G. Use an H, use an I, use whatever you're comfortable with. It's got our aromatic handle on it because I am loving how that is helping my thumb with the arteritis I have in it. But I'm using a G. Feel free to use whatever size you need. I love this yarn from Hobby Lobby this time on this brand. I am going to use that for my red. It's a little bit slickier than Red Heart. It's got like a little satin kind of finish to it. And then for the leaves of the strawberry, I'm going to go back to the Red Heart and just use the regular medium worsted weight to give it a little bit more stiffness. So let's jump right into the strawberry. We're going to do our slip knot. We're going to attach our needle. And we're going to make a chain of 20. I'm doing 20 because, as we have talked about in other videos, I'm doing a quilted square of every stitch that we're learning. And so 20 to 21 makes about a 3 by 4 inch square in every stitch, give or take. And so that's what I'm kind of using as my go-to. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. So 20 in my row, like I said, makes about the big enough quilt square that we can have a pretty good piece to work with. If you're doing more than that or you're doing a blanket, you want to do a multiple of 4. So 20, 24, 28, 32, 36. Multiple of 4 will be just fine and give you what you need. So here we go. On this first row, we're going to skip the first one that we're in and do a single crochet in the next one. And then I want you to single crochet all the way across the chain. A lot of these stitches, as we've talked about previously, need a foundation row. Kind of makes a sturdy row to build off of. So this stitch is one of those where we want to make a foundational row to build our strawberries off of. So just simply going in the V, yarning over and pulling out. You have 2 loops on your needle, yarn over and pull through. That's the single crochet. So again, find your V, go in the center of your V, yarn over and come out. You have 2 hoops, yarn over and pull through. That's the single crochet. So we're just single crocheting across the row to make that foundational row. So go ahead and do that. I will come back and join you when we get to the end. Okay, so now we have done our chain of 20. If you're doing more than that, it's a multiple of 4 on this stitch. And then we've single crocheted all the way back across our row to make our foundational row to go off of. Now, going into what is row 2, we're going to chain 1 and turn our project. And then we're going to put 3 single crochets in these first 3 stitches. Remember that you're looking for that V right there to go under. You pick up the whole V on your needle, just like that. Bring it through, 2 on your needle, slide through. So there's your 3 single crochets to start. Then, all in the same stitch, this stitch right here, we're going to put 5 double crochets. Finish all 5 of them out. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All in the same stitch. You'll notice this kind of looks like the mermaid or the shell that we did in another video, those 2 stitches, kind of using that. They're all in the same stitch, and then they're going to make kind of this band. And so that's what we want. Then in the next stitch, we're going to go back. We're going to repeat that 3 single crochets in the next 3 stitches. So down in this one, 1, in this one 2, in this one 3. Now, what is facing us right now is the back of the berry. So the berry is going to push out this way. This is making the berry. So you'll see that it makes kind of an inward kind of dent there. That's okay. We want it to push out through the other way. So now we've done our 3 single crochets in the next stitch. Again, 5 double crochets in the same stitch. Remember that a double crochet is a yarn under, always going front to back. So yarn towards yourself and under. Go into that V, yarn over and pull back. You'll have 3 hoops. Yarn under and pull through 2, yarn under and pull through 2 for the double crochet. So we're putting 5 into the same stitch. 4 and 5. Again, that's going to start pushing out, making a little fan. So you have 2 berries started here. The next thing is back to that 3 single crochets. So 3 single crochets in the next 3 stitches. And then 5 double crochets in the next stitch, all in the same stitch. Okay, then 3 single crochets again, right next to that. Then you're ready for 5 again, all in the same stitch. Just alternating 3 single crochets, 5 in the same stitch. 3 single crochets, 5 in the same stitch. This first row, if you're doing the chain of 20 that we did, 20 stitches, you'll end up with 4 berries across that first row. You end up with 3 V's left, so that is your 3 single crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so there is our first row, 4 berries across 20 stitches. We're ready to turn around and do row 2. To turn around and do row 2, we want to change thread. So this is where we pick up our green thread. You can cut your ends off and start every color change the same, or you can just hold it like this, hook your needle around it, pull it through that red right there, and make 1 chain, and then go ahead and pull the red end tight around the end of that green, and you've color changed without tying a knot or changing. Now, you can still cut this off, but what I would suggest doing, since we're going to be going back and forth on rows, is leaving this attached, because you can pick it up on the next row. So it's up to you how you want to do your color change, but that's one way to do it, okay? The next row, row 3, is worked similar to what we did in row 2. We're going to do a single crochet just like we did on the row before. So in each one of these 3 single crochets, we are again going to do a single crochet into each of those. So 1, 2, and 3. Single crochet just like we did across those first 3. Now we're to the berry, and we want to do our berry stem. So what we're going to do is a 5 single crochet together. The 5 SCTOG is how this would be written on a pattern. So we're going to go into each one of these and pull through all across the berry, still leaving the single crochets on our needle, but going across all 5 of those, just like that. When you get to the end and you have all the single crochet loops on your needle, you're going to grab one and pull them all together. That makes the top of that berry. If you can see that strawberry coming out looking like that. I'm going to turn this light on so you can see on the back side a little bit easier with that red yarn. Then we're going to chain 1. That holds that top of that berry together. And then in this the very last single crochet right here, this green single crochet that you did, that V there in the red, I want you to go back in there a second time and just slip stitch. That gets that berry held together. It stops the stitch from bleeding over into that stitch, and there you see that strawberry formed with its top. Now we're back to the 3 single crochets that we did on the previous row, so repeat the same thing there. A single crochet into each of those 3 single crochets previously. Just like that. Now we're to the next berry, so same thing. You're going to go into all 5 of those double crochets to put a single crochet, but you're not going to finish it out and pull through. You're just going to gather those all across your needle. Like that. You end up with 6 hoops across your needle. When you have that, yarn over and pull through all 6 of those and chain 1. Makes the next berry. Again, go in that very last stitch that you just left and just do a simple slip stitch to end that berry out. You're back to the 3 single crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And then go ahead and do the together 5 single crochets across the next berry. There's your gathering. Yarn over and pull through them all. Chain 1 and slip stitch in the end. You'll have 1 berry left because if you're doing the 20 stitch count with us, it makes 4 on the first row. So we'll get through this last berry and we're ready to go on to the next row, row 4. You will end the same way that you ended it with the red. You should have 3 single crochets left. So go into each one of those and put just a single crochet for the green. 2 and 3. So looking back, those berries will start popping through and you have a row of 4 strawberries and you can see the little strawberry with this little top coming through there. So now in the next row, we want to put strawberries in between these strawberries. So these next 2 rows change just slightly, not too complicated still, but just slightly. So we'll come back and we'll change red color and we'll go back across and teach the next row. Okay, so we've put our red back on. We've turned around. We're looking at the back side of the berries. We're ready to put the next berries on. Row 4 changes just a little bit from row 2, where in this first one, we are going to do a single crochet. But we're not going to do 3 across the single crochets. We need a berry to start falling in between the berries that we just did. So after this 1 single crochet, this next single crochet is where we're going to put those 5 doubles. So put the 5 doubles in this stitch here. 4, 5. Then your next single crochet is that 3rd one, which is right here. So that's fine, put a single crochet there. We need to make 3 single crochets though. So when you look at the top of this berry, this next stitch that's right here is the chain stitch, and this stitch right here is also the beginning chain stitch. We don't want to use those. We just want to go right here in the middle of this berry. So we put 1 here. We're going to put 1 into the center of that berry, and then we're going to put 1 on the other side of the berry. Then if you'll notice, we're in the center single crochet of the row before. We had 3 in a row. We're in the center one of that green one, and we're going to put the next berry, 5 double crochets. The berry itself is always 5 double crochets in that single crochet. 4 and 5. Again, same pattern. We're looking at the next stitches to be the 3 single crochet repeat. But where we're putting them on this row is different. They were falling right there So it's a berry and then 3 and then a berry. So that's where they were falling, but now they're falling across this berry. So right here is a single crochet right here into this one, which is right next to your double crochets. But your next one, you're skipping this stitch and going into the very top of where the 5 gathered, that top of the berry, the very top berry stitch to make the second one. And then the third one, you skip the chain stitch and go into the first set of 3 from the previous row to make the third one. Then you're set up to be back in the middle of those 3, which is where the next double crochets go for the next berry. And you're putting 5 into that stitch to make that next berry. 4 and 5. Again, those 3 singles are going to go 1 right here next to the berry you just made. Skip this chain one and go into this stitch here that's the very top of the berry from the previous row. Skip this big long chain and go into this single crochet to make the third single crochet. Then you're ready in that middle stitch to put another berry. Feel free to pause this part of the video if you need to, or watch it several times. It is hard until you figure out exactly what you're doing, but you're just making those 3 double crochets go across the berries from the previous row. You're still doing the same repetitive thing, 3 single crochets, 5 double crochets in the same stitch, 3 single crochets, then 5 double crochets in the same next stitch. You're just putting them across the berry from the previous row, so it takes a little bit to understand that you have to skip those 2 sides of that berry. So like here, we put a single crochet here as 1. We want one right on top of the berry, so we go into the top of the berry and put the second one, skipping that chain stitch from the previous row, and again skipping that chain stitch there and putting it right here. You'll have 2 stitches left, so you have room for 1 more berry. 2, 3, 4, 5 double crochets, and then just end it with a single crochet into that last stitch. We'll turn around here and put the stems across this row and finish up on the last of the repetitive rows. Okay, so now we're ready for row 5. We've changed colors to our green, we've turned around. From this angle you can see that you now have 5 berries that you're going to form across that second row, and they fall in between the berries of the previous row, which is exactly where we want them. So it should look something like this. Let me slide my granny squares over since I've got red on red. You can see it a little bit easier there. But each of those fans is falling in between the berries so that we can make the stems and pull them into the berry pattern. So that's what you should have when you turn this time. So again, same thing as row 3 where we did the stems for this berry, with just a little bit of altercation because we're working in between the berry previously and our end is not the same. So now instead of having 3 single crochets like we did here, we're just literally in 1 single crochet. So we start with the single crochet on the end, then we're going to do the 5 toggle, go straight into it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Same technique that we did before. We're putting the 6 rows on, going into the 5 double crochets, and then joining them all together, making a chain, slip stitching into the very last one. So there's your berry starting that second row, and they fall very close together. So that's why we start this row with a single crochet and jump right into a berry. But if you'll notice, here we are again back with 3 single crochets. So you're back to the original pattern, a single crochet here, a single crochet here, and a single crochet here. Then you're back to the 5 single crochet together. So go into all 5 of those and pull a loop through. You're doing the single crochet but not finishing it out, just gathering them on your needle. You end up with the 6 loops, pull them all together and do a chain. To get set up back up, go into this last stitch that you came out of and just do a slip stitch. Now you're ready for the next 3 single crochets and the start of the next berry. Again, toggle those all together with a chain, go in the last one and slip stitch through. 3 single crochets come next, So you can see how the only thing really changing on these rows is how you start and end, because you want the berries to, like I said, fall in between the previous row of berries. So you have to change your end, what you end on, just a little bit, but once you get going in the row, the pattern is exactly the same, whether you're doing the berry row or doing the leaf row. So we're going to get this last berry, and I'll show you how to end this row. Because you're going to end on a berry instead of the single crochets, which is fine. But we chain, we still do our slip stitch into here, but we have one stitch left, and just like when we started this row, it's just a single crochet and an end. So I'm cutting my ends off and starting with new thread every time, and I'll work those in. But again, if you don't want to cut every end like that and have all those ends to work in, you can leave your threads together. It's just a choice of how you like to crochet and how you like to keep everything going. But I do cut my ends and work them in later, so it's not a big deal, whichever way you like. When we get done here, fold it out, and you have 2 rows of berries, 2 rows of strawberries. So that is the entire pattern right there. It's a repeat of 5 rows. The first row is just a blank row. You're doing the single crochet across the chain to stabilize it. But from here on out, you're going to repeat row 2, 3, 4, and 5. So when you're making the pattern and you listen to this video and you're writing it down, you're going to come out with 5 rows at this point. Go back and repeat 2, 3, 4, 5, then repeat 2, 3, 4, 5, then repeat 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the pattern that you're following on your rows. Because even though the pattern in between here to make the berries is the same, it's always 3 single crochet, 5 together, 3 single crochet, 5 doubles together, 3 single crochet. And the leaf rows are always the same. Toggle 5 single crochet together, 3 single crochet, toggle 5 together. When you toggle 5 together, you're chaining 1 and slip stitching, then 3 single crochet, toggle 5 together, chain 1, slip stitch, toggle 5 together. The green rows are always the same, the red ones are always the same once you get into the berry of the pattern. The only thing that changes is the edging here, because right here you're doing single crochets, and right here you're just doing 1. You're doing 3 here and 1. So when we start this next row, and I'll go ahead and show you that, because I want to make sure that we're understanding it and I'm explaining it right. When you start row 6, which is going to be a repeat of row 2, we're going to hook on and do a single crochet, and then you fall on a berry. We need to put 3 single crochets across this. In order to do that, this is 1. We put 1 in the top of the berry, skipping that chain stitch to make 2. We skip the slip stitch and go right here into this one. There's our 3 single crochets. If you'll notice, we're in that center single crochet from the row before, and that's where we want to do our doubles. So we put our 5 doubles into that to make the berry. And then again, ready to do our 3 single crochets. 1 goes next to the berry, 1 goes in the top of the previous berry, and 1 goes what would be next to that berry. Then the 5 doubles goes in that middle single crochet. So watch your ends closely, because that's really the only thing that changes, and that's the reason it changes, because it sets you up for the next berry of the next row. But when we turn this around so you can see that, it puts that berry ready to go above that other berry, and you get them going every other row, every other one in the middles. So I hope you have fun with this stitch. This is such a fun and easy stitch. It only uses the single crochet and the double crochet. There's a few chaining and slip stitches in there to make the leaves come out right, to make the strawberry look like a strawberry. But honestly, it's super easy and super fun. Would be a cute blanket, a cute border to a blanket, anything like that you want to use it for. It's a fun stitch that looks cute, but still very realistic, or still very realistic stitch. It is a little bit of a yarn eater, just like the puff and the cluster were, but not near as heavy as the waffle. So if that helps you out on understanding how heavy it is, it does have move and flexibility to it, like the puff and the cluster do. Those berries will stay pushed out on the one side. The back and front do not look the same, so keep that in mind. That's what your back's going to look like because of the color change. So keep that in mind. This is a front only stitch. But I hope you have some fun with this. Again, I thought this would be really cute for the finishing out the Valentine's Day week and the week of kindness we had last week because of the chocolate covered strawberry concept at the holiday. So cute stitch, fun night tonight. I will see you guys back next week for the next stitch on our road to 100. And again, happy crocheting.